Hello everyone, I'm Eden. This video will be a quick rundown on how to build Lycaon, his most important abilities and stats, and how to use him. One Lycaon matters in most ice teams, mostly because his additional ability requires either a faction or an element matching the character, aka an ice character. This will be all the same for almost all the standard characters. There are three fairly used teams where Lycaon shines, that it being Miyabi, Lycaon, Sukaku as an ice disorder team, Hugo, Lycaon, and Lighter as one of Hugo's best teams, and Ellen Lycaon and either Lighter again or any support character. You can choose from Sukaku, Astra, or Nicole, depending on the situation and the requirements of the characters. Depending on which team you choose and what you will use Lycaon for, there are two useful drive sets. First is going to be the on-field Lycaon using King of the Summit, the current best stunner drive set. In this case, you will always need 50% crit rate to maximize the whopping 30 CD upgrades you will get by just using your chain or EX special attack. Meaning that you will always need a fourth disc as crit rate unless you have some insane luck and get 50% crit rate by just substats. The two-piece set should always be Shockstar Disco, the fifth disc should also be Ice Damage, and the sixth is going to be Impact. But depending on substats, you will need CD and CR, and then Attack Percent, and then Flat Attack. You can switch the Ice Damage to Attack Percent as a fifth, the latter just being a slight bit worse than the former, but for most players it won't be a noticeable difference. The second option for Lycaon build is when you're using another stunner on the team. King of the Summit does not stack, unfortunately, meaning that something like Astral Voice or Protopunk is your next best option for a 4-piece set. Astral Voice is very situational in my opinion, because you won't have many chances to use it unless you're hit backwards, and well, in higher tier content like Deadly Assault or even the Tower, that is going to be a death sentence. For something like Hugo, Lycaon, and Trigger, you will use Astral Voice very well because Trigger can make quick assets happen, so you can easily get some of the advantages from the attack percent. But for, let's say, something like Ellen, Lycaon, and Lighter, Protopunk is a better option since you have no chance to do any quick assists unless, as I said, you're hit back. With a support agent backing you up, you won't be needing Astral Voice because you have that sat on the support agent instead, so King of the Summit will be a better option here. As an honorable mention, Shockstar Disco is unfortunately only useful as a 2-piece set. It can now never live up to what King of the Summit is. As I mentioned before, with King of the Summit, 50% crit rate is necessary. If you don't use it, you're not required to have it, but it will still be useful to build Lycaon as a DPS stunner. Otherwise, the other stats are quote-unquote negligible. ZDCR, attack percent, and flat attack are the subsets you need to go for as well, and about 2k attack, so 2000, and around 100 CD is a minimum. So these both apply to the other build as well with King of the Summit. As for Impact, there are two ways to increase it. One is the 6-disc drive and the other is the W engine. Without question, his signature, the Restrained, is his best option. Any attack increases damage and days of the basic attack, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, I've never gotten a Restrained myself, and I chose Hellfire Gears on the anniversary because to me it's more useful as the Restrained, and it's a lot more versatile as a stun engine. Damage-wise, it is a slight bit worse because it doesn't increase damage, but the days increase is quite formidable, and the only problem you will be having is that you need to have the charged EX to actually use the buff of the Hellfire engines, and the energy regen it gives is a nice bonus, especially if you use Lycaon as a side stunner with someone like Lighter. As an 8-rank engine option, Precious Fossilized Core is without a doubt the best option. It's craftable and versatile. With all that said, the impact you have should now be around 190 with either of these engines. Now for a quick rundown. On-field Lycaon with the support should always be King of the Summit, Restrained, Hellfire, or Fossilized as a W engine, and 50% crit rate requirement is a must. The other sets are going to be 2k attack and 100 CD. For on-field Lycaon with a stunner, for example Lighter, you should use Protopunk, Astral Voice, and the same engines I have mentioned before, and the sets you can gather, meaning that 100% CD and 2k attack, and then a 50% crit rate requirement. For Trigger, for example, Astral Voice is going to be a pretty good option, the same engines I mentioned before, and the same stats Now that the build part is over, let's talk about Lycaon's kit and how to use him effectively. Lycaon is one of the simplest stunners to use. His core skill increases the days dealt by his charged basic attack by 80% on max, and his charged EX reduces ice damage resistance of enemies by 25% on max. His additional ability is unlocked by matching faction or element, as I mentioned before, where if Lycaon hits a stun enemy, the target stun damage multiplier increases by 35%, meaning you do more damage. For leveling his skills, EX and basic attack take priority. Maxing them out should be the first, then chain attack, then dodge, and last is the assist. The best mindscapes are M1 and M6, but getting M6 means that you are probably in a 50-50 nightmare, or your standard banner luck is insane. Now for a little battle tactics. To use Lycaon effectively, use him against ice weak enemies because he stuns them faster. Fun fact, every enemy can be stunned faster by the element damage that it is weak to, meaning someone like Lighter can stun a fire enemy faster than Chingy would. Though it is also subjective on how well you play. This is also why I wish we get a Nether stunner by now, but no, that'd be probably too strong or something. Anyways, if you use him on field as your main stunner, charging his attacks is necessary for fast stunning, and using his charge EX when the enemy attacks is a good choice because he has invulnerability during the attacks. Unfortunately, most of his best teammates, meaning Alan and Miyabi, would rather be on field instead, whilst Hugo just, I don't know, watches his totally not husband fight for him instead. This means that swapping out and occasionally doing charge EXs and swapping back to the main DPS is key. When there is an option to defensive assist, don't miss out on it, as you can do massive days even during that, and when his EX is charged, swap to him and use it immediately. I do not recommend doing what I've seen someone do. This is just a random side note, because it will hinder your gameplay and you will need a completely different Lycaon build. But for the Miyabi team, most importantly, Sugaku is used as an anomaly ice debuff character, but I have seen someone use anomaly Lycaon, so I just couldn't believe my eyes that they did 45k on Deadly Assault once. This basically means that you just lose out on impact and just get Anomaly Mastery on the 6th and a lot of AP and everything else. And they also chose to use Sugaku as a DPS instead, which is, I mean, it's just baffling to me. Don't do this, because it's not going to be a fun idea. Hopefully this guide helps you in building Lycaon, and whilst I know that there are many more well-made and more in-depth guide builds on the standard characters already, I wanted to make a video about the game I enjoy playing. If you watched till the end, please like and subscribe. I'll be making more standard character build guides and some other characters I actually have. Over time, if my videos go up a little, I'll make sure to talk more about the newer characters, especially the 2.2 and the 2.3 characters. Thank you once again for watching. I was Eden, and I'll see you next time. It'll all be alright. Better option because there is no chance to... Oh my god, that was an awful voice crack.